Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, which is the Invasion of Time set by character options for the classic Doctor Who action figure wave. Well, line of figures that have been going for quite some years now. Now, I believe that this set originally came out 2011. I could be wrong, 2011, 2012, it was somewhere around about there, and I was very lucky enough to pick this up from the Toy Fair about 2 years back now, but it's taken me quite a while to get around to reviewing it. Oh no, about a year back, I'd say. But as I say, I just haven't gotten around to reviewing it yet because I've had so many NECA figures to do. So I thought I'd do a quick review today on this, just to give you guys some Doctor Who content. And yes, featured in this set, we do have Commander Storr, the Sontaran, and also another version of Leela from the Invasion of Time, obviously. There are a couple of accessories that come with this set, but we'll get onto those shortly later on. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the figures. So first, I think we'll take a look at Leela, just because I think the Sontaran is more interesting. So if you guys have seen any other Leela figures from character options, there really isn't too much to differentiate here. She has a very nice costume. Sadly, mine has been a bit scuffed, because I did get this set secondhand. It was out the box. I couldn't afford the price that was asked for it in the box. And yeah, this costume goes right the way around to the back. I really love how they've sculpted her armbands on. You've got a knife pouch there. Her boots have been very nicely sculpted with a bit of a wash to give it detail. It is a shame about the sculpt lining on her legs, but like I say, that's just how the mold comes out in the factory. Very nice face. A lot of people have said this doesn't look like Louise Jameson. I think it does. I think it's spot on, actually. I have seen some that are painted quite badly. I think mine's been painted really, really well, actually, so props to character options. It's a shame that she didn't quite have her blue eyes yet, which character would rectify later on. They have just painted the eyes, I think they're like a dark brown, which is what they were eventually, because for some weird reason, even though Louise Jameson's eyes were blue, they gave her brown contact lenses, which she just couldn't keep on doing because it was too painful for her eyes. So they kind of worked it into the plot for, what's it called? Horror Fang Rock, where something would happen to her eyes. I can't quite remember what happened, but her eyes change colour, so they go to blue. So at this point, they should be blue, but they have painted them brown. But it's okay, because I actually think this version looks better than the version that we got in the 4th Doctor B&M set way back in 2017. So yeah, that they did change her eyes to blue, but the paint wasn't anywhere near as good. You've got a really nice wash on her hair to really accentuate those details. Very nice sculpting. Now, what's interesting is you can see that there's sort of a gap between these bits and that bit, and that's because this piece is actually a hair plug. So you can pull this off, and the reason for that is because they did actually reuse this figure again for the Image of the Fendal set, but all they did was they took off this hair and plugged on a different hairpiece where her hair was tied back in a bun, because that's how she looks in the story. Aside from that, everything was exactly the same. Yeah, we'll take a look at her articulation. So you can't really move the head. Now, it does look as though there is a plug here where her necklace is, but you can't really move it, so don't try to, otherwise you'll break it off. You can do a full 360 with the arms. You can also bring them really far out and actually bring them up because of this T-joint here. You have full 360s at the biceps. I find you always have to be very careful with female characters because they do have quite thin limbs, so you don't want to apply too much pressure on this, otherwise you could break it off. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow, as well as a full rotation on her teeny tiny hands. Like, my god, I didn't realise her hands were that small. Same on the other side. There's a full rotation at the waist. You can bring the legs ever so slightly forward, but not really far. You can bring them out to the side, although my joints are quite tight. There is a 90-degree bend at the knee and also a full rotation at the boot, which is nice. Now, what's weird is my Leela's legs seemed to have the same problem that a lot of 11 Doctor figures had. Her legs seem to go back in a very abnormal way, which is a bit weird looking, but she stands just fine. It just looks very, very strange. So turning to accessories for Leela, she does come with her knife, which I think is very, very cool, and this can be slotted into the hand that is sculpted to hold it. So if we just pop that in there, so you can have her in full savage mode, which is really cool. Or if you choose to, you can take the knife and actually put it in her knife pouch, which I really like. I always love when they have these little ways of storing accessories on the figures. It just makes it a lot more difficult to lose things, which I really like. And yeah, that's just really cool. So you can choose if you want it in her hand or in her pouch. This is the same for all Leela figures. You can do this. They all come with knives and you can all do that. Which, yeah, is really, really cool. Now, here's something that's interesting because you actually get a second accessory for Leela, but this accessory doesn't technically belong to Leela. So it's the DMACC gun, which many of you might remember from the final scene. I won't spoil it, but this is actually an accessory for the Fourth Doctor, not for Leela, and we haven't had a variant of the Fourth Doctor from Invasion of Time yet, so I would really get round to doing that if I were you, character, because so far we don't really have a Fourth Doctor figure we can give this DMACC gun to, unless you've done a custom, and it doesn't really go with Leela either. I mean, she can barely even hold it, so it's, like you can see, it's kind of strange that they packaged it, but it's cool. I'm not going to complain about it. Like, it's very cool and very, very detailed, but it's kind of strange that they packaged this and it's Leela, so, which does make me think originally it could have been a fourth Doctor that came in this set, but then at last minute they changed, maybe because of cost reasons. But yeah, I just find it interesting that they package this in here. So, but I love the detail on it. I love the transparent plastic on the tip and the sort of center bit. You can see where you put the key, what is it? The great key in there, yeah, to charge it. You've got a scope, which doesn't look like it really does anything, and a big, big trigger, even a stock. So yeah, it's a very, very cool design. Really love it, but it's just strange that they package it with a Leela figure because, Leela isn't going to be able to hold it and it's not really for her. But still appreciate it all, nonetheless. I'm really glad we have it, but would be nice to see an Invasion of Time Tom character, just really complete the display. But yeah, very cool. So now we're taking a look at the figure which I'm sure most of you are probably going to be wanting this set for, and that is Commander Store, the Sontaran. Now, character have given us a wonderful abundance of classic series Sontarans over the years, and I think if we're being honest with ourselves, the classic series Sontarans are the best. I've always said that. I personally don't hate the new series ones like some people do, but you just can't beat this jet black sort of ancient armor mixed with future tech sort of look that the originals had. And I like that they're so much taller, that they're not all short. But this Sontaran, I have to say, was the worst of the bunch. It's either this one or Stike that many people consider to be the worst. I consider this to be the worst makeup and some of the worst makeup in the whole show. But having said that, I will say Character Options have done a phenomenal job with translating this into figure form. I think they've not only represented the character very well, but they've actually taken the look of the character and have enhanced it in so many ways, the way they've painted it. And I love that character have painted their Sontarans to almost look more real, like they're more real creatures and less like masks. And I think they've done a really good job. I do love how his eyes are very sunken into his face. Now, I will say the camera isn't doing this figure justice. It does look on camera as though the black is quite just splodged on there, but actually it's very nicely blended. It doesn't look like he's just wearing eye makeup. It really does. And you have a very nice wash on here, which once again isn't showing up on camera. So it is actually quite darker in some areas, which I do prefer to how the actual mask looked in the show. He's also got some pink around his lips, which looks really nice. His eyes are a little bit googly, but they're detailed nonetheless. I've seen some that are way worse than this. And yeah, the suit is painted really, really nicely, just like it is on all of the Sontaran figures. It's a bit of a sort of soft PVC, as you can see. And he comes with his communicator device and also the bomb, which is quite a cool little thing there. They've also given a wash over the silver bits. You've got the arm guards, the knee guards, and of course those very fancy boots. They're just so, so cool. You've got the probic vent and the neck piece. It's a very good figure. I've always been impressed with the classic series Sontarans, but what I love that character have done is we all know that the classic series Sontarans didn't really have great hands. They were just kind of like, you know, these three-fingered gloves. But I love that character have actually gone out the way to give them fingernails. And they've done that with all of their Sontaran releases. You know, they've done it with Lynx, they've done it with Stike, because I think Stike actually did have fingernails. You know, before then it was just a horrible latex glove that went over. It didn't look very convincing. So it's nice that character have used some creative license there, and it just really adds to the effect of the figure. So he does come with 2 accessories. He comes with his wand, which is very cool. And just like Leela, you can choose to slot this into his hand, have him pointing it. Haven't done it quite as well as I could, but yeah. You can have it like that if you want to, or you can take it and actually slot it into his pouch at the side, which I love. And you can do this with all Sontaran figures, which is absolutely brilliant. Another accessory he comes with, of course, is his helmet. And I've always really loved Stor's helmet. I love how it looks different from the other Sontarans. It kind of has this sort of rim at the bottom that protrudes out. And of course, you've got the marking there. And that just clips on very, very well and hides the absolutely dreadful makeup. So, you know, I could understand why you'd want to display him like this, actually. I actually think he looks way cooler like this, but I'll just bring in Lynx for comparison. So as you can see, all of the classic series Sontarans do use the same body, just with some slight modifications here and there, like whether that be the belt, the PVC piece that goes on the top, or the different boots or the different helmets, but fundamentally it is the same body, and that's fine because, you know, that's how it was throughout the whole show. So yeah, unfortunately I only have this figure. I don't have the rest of the Time Warrior set, so I can't really review that. Unless you guys would just like to see an individual review of him, do let me know in the comments. So let's take a look at the articulation. So the head can go from side to side. I wouldn't recommend that you twist it all the way around because it does feel like you could damage it. The arms can do a full rotation this way, as well as... Now what's interesting is they do have a rotation at the bicep, but unfortunately because of the shape of the figure, you can't really actually do it. I mean, unless you twisted the arm around and did it like that. But yeah, there is a slight bicep there, so if you do want to adjust it, there is a 90-degree bend at the elbow, but just be careful of the elbow guards. And there is a full rotation at both of the hands. There's a swivel, a rotation at the waist. You can kick the legs really far forward and actually bring them back slightly. You can bring them out to the side, but obviously be careful when you've got the wand in there. You can do that on both sides. There is a rotation at the top of the leg. There's a 45-degree bend at the knee because the leg guard is hindering that. And yeah, no rotation at the boot. So like I say, the rotation is at the top of the leg here. But yeah, I mean, you were never really going to get too much articulation out of this simply because of how the body is designed. But there's a good enough amount. You know, it serves the figure for what it is. But yeah, when it comes to articulation for this one, not as much freedom as the Leela figure. But like I've always said, I think the articulation with these figures is very good, especially considering the size. So yeah, really good articulation, and overall I just really, really love this figure. So overall, I really, really like this set. I wouldn't say that Storr is my favourite Sontaran of the collection that I have, but I'm very, very glad to have him. I only have one more classic Sontaran to get now, and that is the original Steyr, not the god-awful B&M re-release. And I really like Leela, but I will say I do have this figure 3 times over now, so I don't really want any more unless it's the Face of Evil Leela, because I would like that version of her costume. The inclusion of the DMACC gun is very nice. It's just a shame that we don't yet have a 4th Doctor figure from the Invasion of Time to display it with. And yeah, just really, really like Storr. I think he's awesome. I think he's great to kind of display with the other classic series Sontarans. And it's just a very, very good set. You know, it really does make me wish we could get more characters like this in the B&M sets instead of just doctors and companions all the time. You know, we want more monsters, and this really was a sort of golden era for the classic series range, and I'm just very, very grateful to own this set. So overall, I will give this a solid 8 out of 10. Really, really love it. Maybe would have preferred a 4th Doctor instead of Leela, but it's really good for what it is, so I'm not going to slag it off or knock it in any way. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the review. Don't forget to like the video, share with friends, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!